You know, and you can do it online. You don't have to come to classes. And it's, I mean, this is the first time outside the monastic system in India. So you are actually learning these ancient texts. And 1 year is nothing. And there are no exams. I'm also a little thinking about exams.
No, no. Exams are okay. All my life we have been doing so much of
That's
but doesn't matter. What matters is if you don't get the money for sure and feel very bad about it.
it's just for your own growth. Diploma is easy going and it's really nice. So whether it's karma, it's rebirth, any inherent systems, you know, everything is touched. And outside the monasteries, my system, nowhere is it. I mean, India was the first time. So, you know, you get a chance to, and this is our heritage. Left from here to India, and we should gather the beauty forward. And I thought, you know, I mean, this is amazing. This is so grateful that we are able to do it. I thought we tell the young people, you know, the younger ones also, that we should be an inspiration for you.
With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the wilderness trees through. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all
With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma.
Okay, first what we do is we make 3 prostrations to the Venerable, Most Venerable Yeshe Thabkhe Rinpoche, and along with to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And while we make prostrations, imagine that your parents, all the family members, all sentient beings also making prostrations. And after this, then very quickly we will, okay, particularly what I would say is that because of the lack of the space there, those who are coming here for the first time, you can come up to light the lamps on behalf of all the other participants of making prostrations. Okay. 3 prostrations together now. Okay, come to light the lamps. Those who are coming here for the first time, please come up very quickly.
With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the wilderness regions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the wilderness regions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the wilderness regions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the wilderness regions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the wilderness regions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the wilderness regions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the wilderness regions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the wilderness regions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas.
Okay, now I request those coming here for the second time and third time or fourth time, come to light the lamps very quickly, come. To save time, please come very quickly.
With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the wilderness regions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the wilderness regions. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the bewildered mysteries known. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the bewildered mysteries known. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the bewildered mysteries known. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light.
Okay, and those maybe some lucky ones who okay, I'm just joking. Some of those who are not a part of the Nanda Master's course and the Nanda Tibet course, please come up to the lamps with more lamps. Come, very quickly. Those who are not part of Nanda Master's course and Tibet course, come.
With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma.
Narishi, come. And the Narishi, come. Okay, we have still 4 more. Any 4 can come now. Any 4 lucky ones, come very quickly. 4. 1. Okay, thank you.
With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the bewildered mysteries known. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the bewildered mysteries known. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the bewildered mysteries known. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the bewildered mysteries known. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the bewildered mysteries known. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the bewildered mysteries known.
Okay, thank you. Please take your seats.
Okay, good evening every one of you. It's a great pleasure for the Tibet House that we're organizing this teaching by the most venerable Geshe Yeshe Thabkhe Rinpoche, and who is one of the legendary masters in terms of philosophy, logic, psychology, and the great practitioner, great master, one of the greatest legends of our time. So, without much ado, we will turn to the the book, the brown book, The Blaze of Non-Dual Bodhicittas. I hope you all have this book.
Yes, books.
Okay. Setting a proper motivation plays a very important role in all our virtues. To make the virtue more, to make the virtue proliferate, to make the virtue more intense and more profound. For that matter, 3 points to keep in mind. One, the refuge field, which is Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the enlightened beings in front of you. And how you visualize them. They are like your parents, and you come home demoralized from your school, and your parents are waiting there with full love, affection, attention, and so forth. Then the visualization of the bodhichitta field, visualize your two grandparents on the two sides, and all the family members around you, and all the non-sentient beings around you. And here you are the mother, and all others are like your children. And imagine that they come home demoralized, and you are there to give full love, affection, attention, and so forth. And the purpose of this, the two-day teaching, is to activate the ultimate treasure of happiness that exists within each one of us, no matter who you are, what religious background, what ethnicity, your social status, or gender. Everyone has this seed of perfection. So to awaken this, we need to follow a particular path. For that purpose, we need to know how to follow the path. And we have Geshe Yeshe Thabkhe Rinpoche giving us teaching here to awaken the seed of perfection within us. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to page 3. Page 3. Okay, so while we are doing this, imagine the visualization of your two parents and everyone. This is a great opportunity for us, not only for us to partake in the teaching, let us also let others take part in this by bringing them in your own visualization. And all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas watching us, they are watching us, and you are leading this. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to page 3. And to with great compassion, you taught the Magna Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Dharma, I pay homage. And to with great compassion, you taught the Magna Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Dharma, I pay homage. And to with great compassion, you taught the Magna Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Dharma, I pay homage. Independent origination. There is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the Supreme among all teachers, the one of taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas, and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all these hearers seeking pacification and complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes who have been migrated to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of combinations variety of teachings, the one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, God, and protector to your administrations, the one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, eternally shines forth and forever noble by grace. To you, the Buddha, I make restorations. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanje joda zoge chonamba chanjo bardo dane kyatso chi
Dāgē jīnsō gībē sōnam gī, dōlā bēnjirē sāngyē dōgārāshō. Sāngyē chūdān sāngyē chōnam lā, chāngyō bārdō dāne yāsō chū. Dāgē jīnsō gībē sōnam gī, dōlā bēnjirē sāngyē dōgārāshō. Sāngyē chūdān sāngyē chōnam lā, chāngyō bārdō dāne yāsō chū. Dāgē jīnsō gībē sōnam gī, dōlā bēnjirē sāngyē dōgārāshō. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, all sentient beings. Okay, as we recite the mantra, those of us who know this, we have to say this together, and others can join us by listening to us. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Ragava Hetum Deksham Tatagato Yamatat Desham Jayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashamanaye Svaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Ragava Hetum Deksham Tatagato Yamatat Desham Jayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashamanaye Svaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Ragava Hetum Deksham Tatagato Yamatat Desham Jayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashamanaye Svaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Bhagavata. The cessation of causes is well taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite, such as the nectar-like Dharma I have discovered, finding no one to fathom this teaching in silence or returning to words. Pure utterance, thought and expression is the profession of wisdom, which is unborn, unceasing, and has the nature of space. Is the hope to the apprehension of self-realized wisdom. Buddhas the three times there will be sins. Mazlam Jeme Shira Padre Shen Magi Meva Namre Moni Sozo Rari Shishirma Yusum Gere Chachalo. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of all. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, please liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the expense of billions of aeons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of such things that the beings are liberated. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all the within miseries gloom. If attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhichitta. If there is grasping, you do not have that view. Okay, let us turn to page 14. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, full awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and full awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, subduer from the Shakya clan, our prostrate and echo offerings, and go for refuge. When all supreme amongst humans who were born on this earth, you place of seven strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate, with pure bodies formed supremely pure, vision motion like a golden mountain, famed that places in three worlds, winner the best, bow to you I prostrate. With a supreme science face like a spotless moon, color like gold to you I prostrate. History like you, the three worlds are not, incomparable wise one to you I prostrate.
the Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast solution, to you that the Tathagata I persuade, the purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I persuade, those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha I persuade, to not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue mind thoroughly, this star, a visual direction, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the four faults and be delivered from samsara solution, perturbed by the ways of aging, sickness and death. Okay, page 31, the Heart Sutra mantra, the essence of all the teachings of the Buddha, the mantra. And I will say this 7 times. Richie? Turn to page 37, short mantra offering, requesting teaching. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with mount mirror, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this is a Buddha field and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. Sashi Bhagi Joshi Mendo Chang Rira Dingshi Nyende Nyemba Nim Sanye Shingda Mede Pyoharaye Dogu Namda Shinga Chukaraye Sho. May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma, and be blessed that my Dharma practices on the proper path, and be blessed that the path is free of flaws, May we bless that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. Becoming frustrated with ignorance that grasps into existence, please bless with genuine renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as viciously repulsive. Please bless me that my mind's from overflows with the precious bodhichitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious wisdom of non-duality of bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Rana Nandana Okay, so in terms of the teaching, we will have the teaching till like 7:30, and if there's a flow, we will let it continue, let the flow be here. And of course, we will try best to make sure that there are some question answers at the end, maybe like 20 minutes or 15 minutes. Okay.
No, that day I'll catch you. Geshe Yeshe Thabkhe. Damdul de never Shinduka. Give it to look to what you are. Getting the Pamba Maduna Chili and then you were calling yours. She is somebody. Yellow has to do another. Mekumbe never don't roll us over to the market chair. And the church to na Derohama, Comba, to be never young, Deroa. Ninjorba has the Tungi, Jitani Kamusagi, Jitan Kamachamba. Did it doing it under Mayamba Yoba. Or in the social song with the Tungi, the Shannon, Shaman, and song with the Tungi Summer Sami. Church of Allah, Delgin, Tungi Kanga Jobe, then Juji Milu Bush of the Tabati. Shindo cars. Get away military, Shinto Nanyaka. Carriers Niti, Judy. Mambuja Saku, the two Mambusa at the Shinto Company. Or the Indu Tenju de Never Shinto car. Give it to Ruta your last. Or the Nick Kibu Marazo, never than Dembe, Kibusuve, Tunda Trubariatini, Tunda Tutungang, Milu Tobia Gandila, give it to Ruta Juba. Getting Dilla Pamba Maduna, Tandilia, send the Chibu, Tunda Trume, Joachima Pengelia, Pembe. Don't ask you too much to Nasu. Getting the Pamba Chili and Danzo Bacalaja. She's a Mabane, Java data with it, Lea Capores, Songua.
It is said by Bodhisattva Shantideva in his book, Bodhisattva's Way of Life, that this birth, human birth of the leisure and endowment is very difficult to obtain, and that this human birth has the capacity to accomplish all the meaningful points, and that if we don't strive in this life to extract a meaning to one's life, then in future lifetimes it's very difficult to obtain this again. So here we see that the human birth that we have obtained, it is qualified as something which is of the leisure and of having the qualities of endowment, in ways of having, they say, the opportunities, having the potential for us to practice dharma, for us to practice something to transform our mind, and then also that there are the facilities, not only that you are polluted, not only that you have the capacity to do this, you also have the other facilities around us intact for you to actually practice the dharma. And the reason why this precious human birth, which is endowed with the qualities of volition and endowment, and why this is so rare to achieve, is because of the thinking about the causes. Think of the causes of this human birth. We see that the causes involve very sophisticated, the numerous amount of sophisticated causes, which the thinking of really engaging these causes is very difficult. And then that the fact that we have not taken birth as the animals or as in lower realms, so that allows us to practice dharma well. And then if we don't strive hard to extract a greater meaning while we have this, while we obtain this precious human birth, then we are wasting this very precious birth, and that the same birth is very difficult to be obtained in the future lifetimes.
Oh, that give you to talk about your last. Give you Tanda Kar to give us in a Mahambadia, and then to Shimbasum Tapsumda, Chita, Toma, Locho Changang, give you chunks in the middle of chair. Then a part of Kibu drinks chair, Kibu Thomas chair, Ramrita Sum to Chimbuda. That Kibu Tango de Carresina, near some the new Yeta Tendrils of Maggio chair. Had a meat watching about the language, some so the shadow, and it go the near some kitchen to the car. Then to had a millet kitchen to the so on bear chair, Tungi, Chutelia, give chunks chairs.
So in terms of the meaning to be extracted out of our life, as said by Bodhisattva Shantideva, there are three meanings to be extracted. The meanings to be extracted by the person of the low capacity, the person of the middle capacity, and the person of great capacity. So the meaning to extract it by the person of the lower capacity is to obtain precious human birth, the birth of the human beings and the birth in the human realm, or in the celestial being realms, by avoiding taking birth in the lower realms such as the hell realm, Hanuga's realm, animal realm, and so forth. So those teachings meant to help us to take birth in the higher realms, such as human realm and the celestial realms. These fall under the category of the teachings meant for the small person.
Oh, that in the go. Tambuda Samlo the Tiko said, so, the one dollar to me, Medovare, a social yachi, so cheval, soba, or to be never to the round to me with those. Dinner she's sent them, but somewhat in the something. And then, near some like Geshe, she had not saw Cheva, never Cheva to the son. The Shem never Chena. She had to me channel to my round the Chibares and so I was Chamberman, so I could go down. Call Satotona, she tell it, she need to the chairs on my bar. So I to do me a big source and the Maresan. Oh, the Samba. So Helia saw Jobala Soba, Helia Pembertobri, some Jambes and the water trend, the water trainer, to me my Jonasam. But the agent on the range to me on a Jew and then. Nothing changing all the prisons of nothing, never see some. You locked down, let him read the Joma city to Kayomare, send the courage and let it do some. Locked the Kuno to teacher. The only saw Chiva machine by Lemba Loyam Sandra. And then, so you trauma six of Sarah, you know, the worst on the day, you not on the Buddha. No September, the Lumani to the Buddha, so Jova Sarah, Temper Mawasara, Dumbasic Mawasara, or the doesn't go. Jamzeri Shies on the Gone, and this and Jana said never pump. Tell a Pambachino to Bati, Judy, yes, only Joakan, the temperature Judy. Or take to Valia, so get Delia, give it to me chairs also.
So the meaning or the goal meant for the small scale person is to achieve a favorable birth the next life, by avoiding the unfavorable birth, such as the birth in the lower realms. So how to apply that is by dependence on, by embracing the causes, the conducive factors, or the causes for the higher, the favorable births. So what are the causes? So that is knowing that it is the act of harming others, act of, say, out of bad intentions, harming others, and then killing, stealing, and so forth, particularly actions pertaining to the physical and verbal actions, negative actions, they are responsible for the casting us into the lower realms. So the basic intention that one should have is to have a sense of the compassion, a sense of the compassion, wanting not to harm others, wanting that the beings are not experiencing the beings, other beings, they don't experience miseries, the pains, and then wanting that they also have happiness. The way I want happiness, they should also have happiness. The way I don't want suffering, they should also have they should not have the suffering. So this should be the basic the framework of your thinking, of the teaching of the Buddha grounded on compassion and the loving kindness, and that should help you refrain from engaging in negative actions and help you to engage in the positive, the karmas. So the engaging in these two actions, refraining the negativities and engaging in positive karmas, rightly serve as a cause to project you to the higher, the favorable states in your next life.
지금 링데 전에 삼로 코드 갈거리스다고 당에 송이 껴가는 하다 메고만 도고 그래 이내 하다 메고만 돼야 동해기랑 시제를 밀레이네 깨가 나지 내가 제대로면 봐 내가 도도 봐봐 라라라면 봐 공군도내 시고서 동해만 보여래 아마 일라 되나시 고 할이야 차도게 막 겸내들 동해만 보여래 할아야 지부동지 동해시 양아라면 봐 치고 와다 근데 동해 와서 내가 너무 뭐가 소소를 라와매봐 기치시고 봐 진짜 정말 동해에 삼네 텔레 타르바치 제고도세 어 텔레 타르베 된다리아 내가 하다 메이겨와 고그레스 메겨와 주파 겨와 주투에 그 치송 어 대토네 이나 대토제 쳐도 마소하체제 대다 탐제 코알에 타바 쪽고도 삼네 대된다리아네 차당세로 나 섭상간소세로 건조세로 촉신 방방에서 어다 차당의 nhiệm 방법소 쟁게들이야 기본적인 세로 정도.
Now the goal or the meaning intended for the beings of the middle scope is not only be satisfied by achieving the higher states or the higher birth, like the human birth or the sentient being birth, because knowing that even if you take birth as a human being, we still have complications, we still have miseries. And even if we take birth as the asuras, meaning the demigods, they also have so many problems, miseries, particularly miseries pertaining to jealousy. And then even if somebody is to take birth as the devas and devis, there also there's a problem. The misery is acute, a pain of the fear, the pain due to the fear of having to take birth, and in the lower realms, and the indications of the dead that you see within this 1 week, the last 1 week. So we see that even if you take birth and in these favorable states, still we are not really free from the miseries. So while the favorable states, taking birth in the human realm and the realm, this is something very favorable, very good, but it should not be seen as the ultimate goal. It is a goal because this is like the stepping stone for us to achieve a goal whereby your miseries should eventually come to an end altogether. So for that matter, so what causes the miseries then? After taking birth in the favorable states such as the human realm and the Devi realm, so what causes, or what are the things that are responsible for us to still go through miseries is all because of the afflictive emotions, destructive emotions, the klish or the klesha. So we see that this is the feeling of seeing yourself as one and seeing others as divided, as split from you, and having a sense of attachment towards the self, sense of aversion towards others. So this invariably arises, leads to all the destructive emotions. So we see that now, knowing that all miseries, even if you take the favorable states, but the miseries are something which I cannot avoid as long as I'm under the sway of the afflictive emotions, disturbing emotions, such as attachment, aversion, and so forth. So the next journey, the next step is to cut all my negative emotions so that I don't have to go through miseries altogether. So this, not only taking birth in the favorable states or the favorable birth next time, but to cut the miseries altogether. That is the goal, which is the more sophisticated and higher the level of the aspiration, which is considered as the goal aspired by the middle school person.
so Ranchi was in the order, Rale Shan, Keshavata, Situpuyamari. The Yinayako, Rale, Soscation Yina, Shandia, Niringishan, Lumbata, Mirita, Shuluta, all that Ramendata Tedeshane, Chot Machiviches, some Machibus Chabamel, this old Chutubudo.
So here, in this case, the teaching to be practiced pertaining to aspire with aspiration to achieve the goals, with the goal of cutting the miseries altogether, also referred to as the goal intended by the middle school person. So there, while we are pursuing through this journey, we do still have this self-centered attitude, but a very aggressive form, or the very coarse form of the self-centered attitude, and making a very clean divide between self and others on the basis of religion, on the basis of the ethnicities, on the basis of the social status, and so forth. Then the attachment aversion, very intense form of attachment aversion, they arise, and this is what really disturbs the person. But it doesn't mean that when you actually practice the second level of the teaching, the self-centered attitude is going to be taught. This is not the case. So what is required is the understanding of this selflessness of person. So these teachings, the selflessness of person, they become relevant in this context.
Ni shen simje tamje tungale dewa tobe cheto ani rang kyun kunse yende kunde simje ba tungale dewa da chebar chebe tabkanga chinji malo shenge rang kyun kunse yende kunde ji kibu shende shende chobu sam shen cheba so shenge tiliate ne kibu chimbe choyose diongdo ta tiliate tabe chanju tabe shen chebe kone ani chimbe ba be tu chemba sudum.
Next comes the teaching for the grade school person, the person of grade school. So there the intention is very sophisticated and very advanced. So there the person should give preference to others instead of the self, cherishing others more than oneself. And with a feeling of intense love and affection, love and the compassion and so forth, one cherishes others more than oneself. Then on that basis, the practice, what is known as the practice of bodhichitta, practice of the awakening mind, desiring to become fully enlightened being, to achieve, to benefit all beings. So that aspiration, the considering others more precious than oneself, so that this basic driving motivation of bodhichitta that will lead a person to engage in the six perfections, practice of the six perfections, such as generosity and so forth.
Oh, that and that tushana, chusumri rabdi, tabe shenche paase, shendi tunda koran rangitunda imba samne, rangitunda sombe, shendi tunda sochene, junge churchikche, rabdiche. Tan dring delia, shenle rangle shen kecho se matumya. Rang so hinaya, shenle ya chadang, resuche be chadang meche batiche, nibati. Somebody kibuchumude, so rancho so, randa mirita, kimzanda, ti so chabure, ti chatukumare. Ti hinaya, randa rancho tundala, dewa tubiyata, tungese tundala, shenle sawachi mese. Odati kibuchumus cheche, ti udo.
So in summary, we see that amongst the practitioners, there are three categories. The first one, the supreme, that is the middle, and the small school. The supreme one, or the most excellent practitioners, so they cherish others more than oneself, and they see that cherishing others itself is the ultimate intention, the ultimate benefit. The ultimate goal, the whole being, and this is the great school person. The middle school person constituted of the not being able to get to that extent of cherishing others more than oneself, but we do have the sense of self-cherishing, but we never give in to the afflictive emotions such as attachment, aversion, so forth. One makes it a point to do away from cherishing, let's say, do away from attachment, aversion, so forth, by not engaging in harming others and so forth. This is number 2. Then the beings of the small scope, the practitioners. So there, and although one does have the sense of the biased attitude that I'm more important than others and so forth, but still, and then of course one does have that I should be able to do these things so that I would not take birth in the low realms and so forth. So a sense of self-centeredness is there, and then also the making clean divide between yours and others, making the distinction between yours and others is there, but we stop engaging in the activities such as the negative actions, which will potentially project us into the lower realms in the next life. So these are the 3 categories of the practitioners. So we see that what is very important is that from this, the structure of the teaching meant for the 3 the different practitioners of the three levels of the practitioners, we come to realize that the basic and the ground for all these 3 practitioners is the practice of the aspiration that the beings be free from suffering, and that the beings be endowed with happiness. So this basic, the thought process that we have, so pertaining to the engaging in the 10 virtuous actions by refraining from the 10 non-virtuous actions. So this forms the basic, the main practice, which is so fundamental and important for us. Refrain from 10 non-virtuous actions and engaging in the 10 virtuous actions. So some people may think that, oh, these are something to be done by the initial practitioners. So we have some very more important practice, and then you may ignore these practices. So this is where we are going wrong. So what is very important is that this is very fundamental practice, and so this very practice, which may seem to be more associated with the small scope person practice, the more we practice this, eventually it will develop into the teaching meant for the middle scope person, and you practice it further, we see that it can be developed to the practice associated with the great scope person. So then finally, wishing to become Buddha for the manifold sentient beings will make sense to us only through this, the practice of cherishing to engage in 10 virtuous actions and refraining from 10 non-virtuous actions. That plays a very important role in the practice. This should not be missed. So with this basic framework of your intention, setting intention that by listening to this discourse, I will learn how to refrain from the 10 non-virtuous actions and engage in the 10 virtuous actions. So non-virtuous actions referring to the 3 physical non-virtuous actions, 4 verbal, and the 3 mental. So with this intention, you're going to listen to the teaching.
Oh yeah. I think the share with the car, tension travel joint call, share from Kishan. What the Indians uncle, Nambe, Tawaneshi Chivina, tension travel joint said that Nambe, Metapada, Tumyawada, Dameva, Soba, to be the sheet told that Sanjay Church and Zergi, Nimburati, so tension travel joint is Sanjay. What in the vacation was your what in the tender call share. Tension travel joint. Sonsan Doman Buyore, Sanji, Solun Japandos, Dead in Jambam get as a shingle what it is, I get you. Oh, Tindrigi Sini, and the Keronia, Keroda, Sue Tenji Devarijon Tonga de Chetomos, Sue Judan Kena Ten Gentenia, where we get not kill the Shembina, and the true nature shingle as we are. Sue Tenji Devarijon Tonga de Chetom, Sue Chetonga de Sanji Tomos, Guinea to the Abolition Sona, and the true. Sanjay Kukuma top to the Yasumara. Karas and Kudan came at Tenjin Debra Joa the Yabochi Samutana and a Ramune Trubase, Tombati, Hako to the Ora. Kudan came at any Kedan the Aboshi Sona Mitaba, Kichi and Jurati Hako to the Ora. Dunga was a Tadachi led and younger Shamandu Juni, Ransom Bachitavina, Kichi and Juni Chivala Sobona, Tizukanga de Dunga de Tenjin Debra Joa to Ora. King the good king the tension delne and the Kichi and Juroche, Rama Meva, Tibetia, Rama Taji, you may your mother, now sometimes Ramachi, you may your mothers. Or the indigo tension devil John Delatene, Midabada, Tumavada, Tomatame was era. Some attention, Thomas, or dear negation. Thomas said, Rick Tomeda, Sobot Samman, Sobot Samman, Shendat Kashet over his era. Sobot loss of body, some much years and or Teso you want to be your mother. Some much you can attend it, just a chibare, Luigi says chibare, get Carsore, some of them is our Tesukanga, tension leverage on Kentucky.
So the teaching requested today is from Tibet House's teaching on dependent origination. Okay, just for information, the little bit of digression. Today is just to give an overview of the teaching on dependent origination, and then tomorrow is going to be teaching on Impermanence of dependent origination, which is available in this book. So I would suggest that going back home, if you can read this this short text, Impermanence of dependent origination, which the Venerable Geshe Yeshe Thabkhe Rinpoche will teach tomorrow. It should be on page 99. Page 99. So I would suggest all of us to read this today and tomorrow, and then that we are prepared, that we'll make the most of the teaching tomorrow. Okay, I'm going back to continue from what the Geshe Yeshe Thabkhe Rinpoche taught, is that, say, the teaching today is on dependent origination, and it is said that the Buddha's, the essence of the treasure store of the Buddha's teachings is the teaching on dependent origination. If you have the understanding of dependent origination, this will automatically make us to have a very refined understanding of the impermanence, the suffering nature of reality, and also the selflessness nature of all phenomena. So there's one sutra. Of course, there are so many sutras, so many teachings, but the Buddha taught on the concept of dependent origination, one of which is known as Sadistamba Sutra or the Rice Seedling Sutra. So there, what happened was that as the Buddha was passing by the rice field, the Buddha saw a rice shoot or rice seedling, and then the Buddha pointed his finger to the rice seedling, and then said the following sutra, that the bhikshus or the monks, whoever sees dependent origination will see the Dhamma, and whoever sees the Dhamma will see the Buddha. So what he was indicating was that whoever sees dependent origination, the dependent origination in terms of how things come into being by dependence on the causes and conditions, then this person will understand the real dharma, that the concept of dependent origination, the cause effect will lead you to understanding the dharma, and whosoever sees this dharma of the dependent origination will make you to achieve the full awakening, achieve the full enlightenment. So here, this concept, when the Buddha said that whosoever sees dependent origination will see the dharma, so dependent origination pertaining to the dependency on the causes and conditions. So here, when we see that when we see that all the composite things, they come into being by dependence on cause and conditions, automatically we come to realize that things cannot possibly be permanent. The composite things should automatically be impermanent, because that they come to being only by dependence on the causes and conditions. If that is the case, then where the causes and conditions is when they're gone, then what is produced also automatically disintegrates. So impermanence is given rise to the sense of the impermanence is given rise to by this concept, and also that when you see that things are by the power of the causes and conditions, then you see that we don't have the freedom actually, and then this will also lead us to understand the suffering nature of the beings. And then on top of that, when we see that things are dependently coming to being by dependent causes and conditions, we see that we don't have the self-nature, the independent nature, independent entity. So this will automatically take us to the understanding of what is known as the selflessness of the independent entity. And then this also takes us to a very important understanding where, when you see that we are nothing but the configuration of the causes and conditions, and then the misconception that although my body is dirty, but there's a self-I which is so important, which is so clean, and this I which is of high caste, and others are low caste. So this sense of the ego on the basis of the caste. So we realize that, so actually I'm nothing, I'm just made of the causes and conditions. And when the causes and conditions, they are very dirty themselves, there's no basis to see myself as of higher caste, others of lower caste. We are all just the same. So this teaching on dependent origination is considered as the essence, as the quintessential of all the teachings of the Buddha.
No, the needs and duties on the then never join Chitabushina as the Chiria. Nididates. The Yuna did Jones. You then can't get on this house on Koran Kishi, you then can't get on this house on the Yuna, and the debuted that give it a yes. The Yuna did Jones. Two men are your mares. And then two men are chicken debauch and some of or you could raise something, and you want to be your mares. In the go. The Yuna did you then can't get house on her, and debuted Jeffrey. You then can't get Masana, and then debuted give something. Samlutani lo yola so what to do with your mares. To your American attention as well. The gave the case. You then can't correct that way of your mother, Midaba. You then can't hear Midaba Shannon. You then can't get Kekuyara. This was a call Midaba, Mamboji Tony, then the Keku race. Midaba, Mamboji to make you let any chance. The Kandi Maribe came into Jesus. You then can't some of the devil, some of get over Mare. Rara Kishi, Timu Maibe, Yelengi Kuda, Henji Chicken, Timu Maibe, never than them, and devil the care, never than them, but you did a ten, devil the get over race. Kandi Maribe can get Duchi can get number ship can get made that shoes. They are not to meet the song. What do you do? Can't swim to Dakar Severs, two men keep your mother. Two Samsona, some Rotani, Kena, some Maki, some. They want to do my Konakian Gray. And if you did Taba Yongumare, Metaba Mambo Sole, give over his. Good and duration, so then they won't duration you over his. Metaba to make your little was. Tumu Maimbe, never than Tempest kills. Kandi Maribe can do cheese. Oh, today, that came some little joint, that's a devil joint, and that is
so then the Buddha further added, saying, what is dependent origination? Then the Buddha said, here is thus. When this exists, that exists. When this is produced, that is produced. And because of ignorance, the the volitional actions come into being. Because of the volitional actions, the consciousness comes into being. Because of consciousness, the name and form comes into being. And then so on. So here, the Buddha is indicating that dependent origination should be understood in the context of things coming to being by the power of three conditions. Three conditions. The first one, the unwavering condition. Second one, the condition of impermanence. Third one, the condition of the concomitancy. The condition concomitancy or the condition of the potentiality. Three conditions. The first one, where the Buddha said, because this exists, that exists, indicating the first condition, the condition, unwavering condition, meaning that things can come into being only by dependence on its preceding causes and conditions. It is not that somebody mentally thinks that, okay, this should happen, then automatically it happens. This is never the case. Things should necessarily come into being by dependence on the respective causes and conditions. So this is known as the unwavering condition, meaning that things come into being unwaveringly or should necessarily come into being by dependence on the earlier causes and conditions. One. Number two, the condition of the impermanence, indicating that even this cause, the dependence on the wish, things come into being, even this cause should be something impermanent. It should not be a permanent cause, it should be impermanent cause, that the cause should be multiple in nature. It is not a single, one particular cause cannot possibly give rise to the results. So the causes as well should be multiple in nature. So multiple and impermanent nature. So this is known as the condition of impermanence, number two. Number three, not only that the cause should be, the condition should be impermanent, the condition must be concomitant. Must be concomitant pertaining to the result or pertaining to the potentiality. So meaning that, say, if the result is something positive, then the cause as well should be positive. A negative cause cannot possibly give rise to a positive result. So this is known as the condition of the concomitancy or the condition of the potentiality. So when the Buddha said that because this exists, that exists, it indicates the first condition. Because this is produced, that is produced, indicates the second condition, condition impermanence. And because of ignorance, the volitional karma arises, or the conditioned karma arises. Because of conditioned karma, the consciousness arises, indicating the 12 links of dependent origination. So there, the Buddha is indicating the third condition. So what is dependent origination? Dependent origination is the things that come into being with the help of the three conditions.
Zambulin ko kandis to yodese. Namkaton Bachikania, Nilumche, Lungiwan the Chuche, Chuchu Volatani, Sache, Salatani, Zambulatani, Lonche Baba subjectus, then they got this and go. What they do, they cheat and to Nanga tension damage also did. Kansa Kora, Latam Mida, don't do that to condition what is it. And then they are not Jumite. Tambo Maribe Tatu, Bangao, Yabangasiki, Dio on the Kidiki Medesa, Dio on the Sempitan to Pachasha, then they are not doing when they got them at the Labiores, till Nanga tension damage was in Yisundo.
And then in connection with dependent origination, the Buddha taught there are two classes of dependent origination, external and internal. External referring to the external world in which we live. So how this world comes into being, evolution of the world, the habitat where we live in this world is explained, how that is evolved. So explaining how initially it was a space. On the basis of this space, then the wind is formed. On the basis of this wind, the water is formed, then the earth is formed. So this is how the external world, the habitat in which we live, comes into existence or evolved. And the internal dependent origination referring to the beings, how the beings come into being, how the beings are the sentient beings who inhabit the world, they come into being. So the Buddha taught the 12 links of dependent origination, saying that the first link, which is ignorance, by seeing the self as so completely there, independently there, and this invariably arises, makes the person engage in the contaminated karmas. And once the contaminated karmas are accumulated, these contaminated karmas are being then transmitted from one time to the other through the consciousness. So this consciousness will then give rise to the name and form and so forth. These 12 links come into being. So by the process of the 12 links, the beings who inhabit this world come into being. So here, the dependent origination is taught in two classes, pertaining to the external world and pertaining to beings who inhabit the external world.
Chi tendele tene, kansa di chi sachu melo namka la sopa tesu dan nange ne, soso u tanya da chi nange, da chi nying da chi dambuda mambuya tesu lega chingi ora. Tesu kanga la tesu telne, kansa di sopa chi tena le sungi ora. Chi in chunga do chi tsa na ma su tetu mara, chang na tetu mara, lung me na tetu mara, chu me na tetu mara, zhe me na tetu mara. Chi sachu melung bin junga dele tene ngarazu kanga ya sempuchi tea kore ese chi dan nage dende nyi soba le tene ti de nga senge chi rama chi susu ngene nga ngaranga yose archi samu ko yorde ti nga yo mara susu sobu yorde ti le mamu che kore sem yorde tsoa yorde chi sachu melung junga yorde tezu kanga le tejin delne danda sempuchi tea yor mado nga ngaranga tea yose tea chi yo mara Naju samlu nala tinduka, nga kanga tejin delne, ene nga regi samsa samlu koyo mare. Nga narangi yo samta, tenge sobore, tenge sora, tenge semde, nga narangi yo samta, tanda nala ne rawandu chene. O tinduko tenjin debar junga yina, ne rawandu cheba tinga yo mare sungyo.
So if one knows the dependent origination classified into the two external and internal, we come to know that this self, I, which we consider is very important, this I survives. This I is able to abide or is able to sustain only by dependence on external dependent origination and internal dependent origination. External dependent origination, as we said earlier, the basic four elements plus the space, the earth, fire, water, air. Say if the water, if there's a scarcity of water outside, again we cannot survive. And if the heat is acute there, again we cannot survive. So we see that by the fluctuation in the elements, external dependent origination elements, we see that we're easily being affected. So we see that we don't really have the freedom. We don't really have the sense of the existence from one's own side, from ourselves, but rather we are heavily dependent on external factors. And in turn also, we come into being by dependence on the basic, the components, like a body, the blood, the air, and so forth. So if anything happens to any of these components, we see that this I instantly disappears or it dies. It cannot sustain itself. So the point is, whereas on the contrary, our basic thought process is very different. We see that, oh, this is my body and this is my mind, but I am something very independent. I can sustain it by myself independently. In actuality, just with the slightest of the fluctuation in the external dependent origination and the internal dependent origination, this I is instantly altered. So we see that this I is something which is totally lacking independence. So therefore, this I cannot possibly exist independently. It is empty of independent existence.
뭐 된디 이제 코테데 코랑 문에 야트네 차요 베스로 코랑 문에 라마치는 수 메토르 신이 코르게 베스로 통계하라 그다음에 캔사출로 좀 쉬어줄 때진 되는 거비게 선보시지야 대위 얼마도지 코랑 문에 대야게 요 말이야 근데 차에 망부시고지요래 차 망부지로 되진 되는 나도 발로 따는수 쇠샤를 맞으지 코라랑 문에 차에 뜨면 그게 주된 때문에 뭐지 요 말아 근데 너무 상마 주된 게임을 때문에 할게니 그 깨지긴 줄어진게 라완도 주면 계지 그래서 더쇼르시는 라바게 되도 더쇼 여기 살아 제거를 맞으지 그 라바게 요되어 코라 요에서 요 말다이네 더쇼 여기도 세워라 다 되네시 나도 요 살아 저도 강바다 라바데 아니 우타에 또 지시네 로비 얼마도 저한 로사 우 땅세 아버지면은 로에게 요 말아 진짜 그 라완도 제네 로에다 갈수록 뭐 컨디션에 라완도 제네 요 말에 주된 게임만 무서워라 근데 그런 다음에 차시 마인게 그런 마인게 차시 망보질 때네 다른 전에 소보다 샘다 소라당 도시 뜻을 때네 나서 받아요라 대담을 샤주레 마도지게 단다도 와지네 내 요순수 수사지 다수가 제수가 간요 말아 발로 봐 따봐 다시를 때네 봐 따봐 삼라 다시를 뜻인 때네 아니 로를 때네 봐 샤고 시대도 사텐데스도 교대 게임을 때네 하게 하셨네 때지 차시 마인데 차시 망부지를 때네 봐 샤고 대삼을 샤고 때네 따고 텐데스 이유도
And yet another way of understanding dependent origination is again twofold. One is dependent origination of dependence on the causes and conditions. Number two, say for example cause conditions, as we learned earlier, that any the composite phenomena should necessarily come into being by dependence on the causes and conditions. Independent of the causes and conditions, things cannot cannot possibly come into being. Then the another thing is that, for example, this flower, the flower that we see should necessarily come into being by dependence on the previous cause and conditions. This is the first level of the dependency, the causal dependency. Then number two is that the same flower at the same time it assumes that the structure, that the appearance of the flower by dependence on many parts. So again, we see that by dependence on these parts, then our mind projects a sense of the flower there. So this is known as the say, dependent origination of imputation by thoughts, by dependence on the parts. So we see that there are two classes. Again, there are two. It is twofold. The understanding of dependent origination. One, the causal dependency, and then number two, dependent origination of dependence on the parts. And now we see that anything that possibly exists, say any composite phenomena that possibly exists. For example, let's say the flowers, so the prayer flags suspended in the air, or the prayer flags, they're flapping a lot. So actually, it is not the prayer flags itself flapping, as though we are seeing it as flapping it so independently. In actuality, is the wind. Independent of the wind, the flag cannot really move. So it is by dependence of the movement of the wind that we see the flag to be moving. In actuality, it is just a dependent origination. Likewise, we see that I am walking, I'm freely walking, I'm freely, say, jogging, and so forth. So should the air outside, should the air suddenly disappear, we cannot possibly walk. We cannot really, without respiration, we cannot possibly walk. So therefore, even this, we say that, oh, I'm taking a leisure walk. It is again purely dependent origination, by dependence on other factors that we call ourselves that I'm walking, I'm freely walking. Otherwise, it's not possible, at all possible. And then we speak about I. The person, the I. So when the self, I. So the point is that what we really have is that we have the physical components, we have the mental components such as the mental thinking, the feelings,
then the discrimination, and so forth. It's on the basis of composition of these factors that we come to have a sense of I. Independent of these factors, there's nothing there as an I which we consider otherwise as something so important and something so solid. We see that as opposed to accepting things existing by dependence on things existing purely by dependent origination, there were many the advocates of causeless production, believing that things exist, things come to being independent of any causal conditions. It's not necessary to have causal conditions. So one people is there are advocates of such beliefs, and there are still others who believe that the causes are there, but the causes are independent. Causes are independently there, permanently there, and then some go to the extent of saying that finally what truly exists independently there are the particles particles. So finally particles particles are there, which represent the independent existence of all phenomena. And then some other advocates believing in the independent, the time as independent existent, and time is the one which is the creator of all phenomena. So this by accepting such philosophy invariably pushes one to believe in independent existence, whereas at Nagarjuna in praise of the Buddha Shakyamuni, the transcendent. So there what he said is that on the contrary, the Buddha, what you taught was that you taught that all compulsive things should necessarily come into being by dependence on causal conditions, by dependence on the nature of the dependency. So this exposition of yours is something which is so objectively real, which cannot be denied through any reasoning and through any empirical the studies. So it is because of this that your proclamation of the reality of dependent origination is like the roar of the lions, which scares all other wild animals or all other animals. So all other animals referring to the advocates of the independent existence, and the lion's roar of the Buddha's teaching indicated the teaching on dependent origination.
강가 미강가 대원들 동에도 메리치 버리게 카가를 체체치 대선도 지금 딩에인다 비켜라인다 제 잡으러 사고 나저도 신조세 다연나니 신도시 당신 잘했는다 아서 라마치데 신수 신다시오라 돈당문에 저는 나서 라마 상면데 수수치부마도 요말 신다 당가 수 결혼하세 나서 건조상가라서 신다 장례띠오라 다다 신이 떠버데 파르수리 지신 거잖아 자 나서도 라마를 실을 상비하는데 미신다 때문에 신에서게 라마에게 탑자티 장 반도 되라 수수치부 이네 파르수리 내세 수저도 되게 된 등가서 수리 인세라 버저대 파르제스거라 소소 버저대 건조수리 인세나 저 파르시거라 저로 봐 지금 소연에 telebe yu ramene tuwareche ramando shivu zende ane nga shen nga zo konzo sere nga yi se ane chik shivu chik mune chene nga yi su saja yende pumputo so nga yi su shira tato zinyo haba yo ma re sungre dungengi shidin shengen shire se ane nga yi de nga se shivu chene shenja che goye ma re ko sumbu chi te to da lu de ko ko ura karsa 류네 자다 통매지 대단한 대송자세 김병 유린 소안에 텔레소남 첨부체스 류데 손내베 ken게지레데 이네고 송규 제보라 류델레 때네 고 개월랍 첨부사야요래 시럽랍 첨부께야요래 송고래서라 이네고 지가 내 류세 시보주 신지 차고 왜서 개마라 고 동행게 신이 챙겨져야 근데 너무네야 따라서 그 최탐제 대신 제가 좋아하는 라마도 좋아요 말이데 나라서 섬도 담보다 나 섬자 라마상 아니 나의 섬자 라마 아니 나조세 아니 셴스 차다 대기도 아니 나조 나란다 나조 초되게 강에서에 되겠지고 대화 쪽에 되겠지고 신다리아 내가 깨는 내가 깨총게 서와체는 서와체 총게 그렇지 어떤데 삼스코요라 나서 계속
Well, this is the reality of the composite phenomenon, that things all come into being by dependent origination. On the contrary, how we think is the opposite of this. We think the self, not in the nature of dependent origination, we think of the self as something very independent. So because there's a discrepancy between how we think of the self and how the self actually exists, we call this thinking as ignorance. So the ignorance is what misconceives the reality of the self, and this misconception, this ignorance, is responsible for creating all our contaminated the karmas. So there, how it happens is that first we have a sense of I. So with this sense of I, independent I, then on this basis, then you extend this to say that this is mine, and then we extend this I to we, and naturally we create another party called as they and you. So then this invariably makes you to have a sense of attachment to the self and I and we, and aversion towards you and they. So this then invariably arises the contaminated the karmas. So this is how we are actually bound into all the miseries. So this is very clearly indicated by Geshe Thabkhe when he said that when you conceive a sense of I, invariably you conceive the sense of others. On that basis, attachment and aversion invariably arise, and because of this, the unceasing, the unending miseries is perpetuated. So whereas in actuality, the sense of I and the mind, my body and so forth, although they are mine, but it is said that the body that we have, they really don't deserve to be called as, identified as mine, to be something very precious, because that is the very basis of the miseries. All the illness, aging, death and so forth, they come into being by dependence on this body. But it doesn't mean that we have to ignore this body, as while it is like your enemy, it is said while it is like enemy, still it is very precious, because it is through this, the body, that we assume a state of the human being where we have the very sophisticated, marvelous the potential to think, which allows us to actually practice dharma and be liberated from suffering altogether. So it is said that it is from that point of view that we should cherish, we should really value this, the body and this body. Otherwise, if keeping that aside, then this body does not have any quality which really deserves to be cherished by ourselves. So therefore, the point is that how we are trapped in miseries is by creating a sense of I, and then this invariably makes you to create a sense of others, and then makes you to have a sense of attachment towards yourself and the we, and aversion towards you and others. So this is how we are being propelled in the cycle of miseries. So this, the sense of creating a divide between self and others, and thus having attachment to the self, aversion towards others, say towards the self, and the self, I, and we. When you hear something pleasant, you're very happy, and then something good things happen, again you're very happy, and mentally there's the ease there. The same thing. Say when you hear something good things about the other side, other person, your enemies, there is uneasiness, not happiness. There's aversion. And then when some good things actually happen, not only hearing it happens, again you have a feeling of jealousy, unhappiness here. So this is what creates all the feeling of uneasiness within yourself, and it is very clearly indicated that when you are mentally unhappy, this is like the food for anger. So just as, say, the food is responsible to make somebody very strong and healthy, the food of the mental unhappiness, mental unease, this is what strengthens and intensifies anger. So the anger is finally what ruins the self and others.
no yo mare sugara kane si lago de so semlan ne yo mare so ne ne ro chi lam ne wi ta de ne ma la che ta da ne ora ka de me che so ma ne che ne me lam ge ko na mo sa chi te ma ke yo mara so ko te da me wa se si te lam ne ra yar do ke yo mare te na me na dur do ke yo mara so kari na che ne te yo re si wara te me ge chik me de o te ya shi ra yi me de che ko yo mare se te ge lu la ne ne ko mare ka se semlan ne ko mare lu le na za de te ge so to mare pa che de si ka che lam na pe ge lab de yo pe me tim bom ge tu ja res lab de ge ne so ge ne yo mara ta mi ji o ge ro ji lab ge do asne o o tsane ne so mi ji che se ru ma do she ko ne yo mara nga so o te ne ko tam da che te so cho da che do ne na ne ko ya yo ma re se sem ba tu ko ya yo ma re se sem ba de ka tu ina ko sem gi rab na yo me cha se ke be tu me chu ya ne sem gi rab na yo me cha se to za ta de ma de ko kwa so za yo ra ina sem shi ti je te de no tu yo ma ra so sem de pa no go le ba o yu chen ke ko ma do pine je de ma de da nam za so sem ya ne gyur do dress na ne ka tu ina ki ba yo ma re cha ra ka se ga ji ko de ta le ki so.
So there's the knowing that this is how we unnecessarily create unhappiness in yourself, thus giving to anger, hatred, and so forth. We speak about what is known as the 8 mundane concerns. The feeling happy over material gains and feeling sadness over the loss of the material loss, and feeling happiness over the praise, pleasant words, and happiness, and feeling unhappy over the deprecation and the unpleasant words and the unhappiness. So we see that there are 8 mundane concerns. So we are like a servant. We are like a slave of the 8 mundane concerns, and say we're easily affected by the external words. Somebody insults you, instantly we are mentally affected, badly affected. We become so demoralized. We become so sad. In actuality, it says that this word does not have any capacity to harm your body. It cannot harm your body, and it cannot harm your mind, let alone harming the body. Let alone harming the mind, it cannot really harm the body, because the word is the physical thing, and the mind is something mental, which has nothing to do with the physicality. So, how can the mind be affected by external words? And however the vicious, however the harsh the words are, they cannot really affect your physical body. So when your physical body is not affected, when your mind is not affected, why should you be affected? So this is how we should maintain our mind very calm and peaceful. Whereas oftentimes what happens is that when somebody insults you or says backbites you or says something unnice towards you, easily we are affected, which means that we are so weak. We easily give in to the mind. We don't control the mind. Mind controls you. So when the mind controls you, then you will never be happy. So why not we make ourselves the master and make our mind our servant, that the mind should not be affected by the external words. So if this is what we can do, it is that the wise people, they're able to maintain calmness in the midst of the harsh words or the unruly words. So it says that the very important point being mentioned by the great Tibetan masters is that, say, praise and deprecation. Why should they easily affect us? Because the praise, if you think very carefully, if somebody says that you are just amazing, it will not really increase your qualities. Simply by somebody verbally saying that you're amazing, your qualities will not increase. And simply by saying somebody telling you that you're just a hopeless person, your qualities will not degenerate. So your qualities will be maintained as it is, no matter what the other person comments on you, positively or negatively. So this is how we should not be easily affected by the praise, deprecation, material gains, material loss, and then the pleasant words, unpleasant words, and happiness, and the suffering, and so forth. So this is when you remain unaffected by the external factors, such as the 8 mundane concerns, then your mind is forever at peace and cannot be affected by external factors. So likewise, when we come across situations like excessive, the heat, like say external, the high temperature, and then acute extreme, the cold, and then when you travel, you may come across the unfortunate, the tragedies. So when these things happen, your mind should not easily be affected and be irritated. So when you are easily affected by external factors, then your mind is easily irritated. This irritation can actually worsen the situation, can multiply the pains that you have, the mental disturbance that you have. So on the contrary, it is said that if you learn how to, how to realize that the world is imperfect, and this is samsara. Samsara is defined as something which is imperfect. So wherever I go, external factors, we are bound to face with difficulties, challenges, so forth. If this is how we go out to the world, when you go out to the world with this kind of attitude, then even if the small disturbance, the unfortunate things happen to you, your mind will not, the ease of your mind, the peace of your mind will not be disturbed. So it says that if this is how you train your mind, then at one point you can reach to a point where you can bear even the otherwise would be acutely painful situation. You can bear and you can maintain a peace of mind. So see, somebody who can despite the external unfortunate incidences, if you maintain the calmness of your mind, this person is referred to as the wise and noble. So the continuation from where we left earlier, that's one part. So then when the calmness of the mind is maintained, then it allows you to have the very conducive factor for meditation. So then when you do meditation, your meditation can become very effective So likewise, financially, when you go through tragedies, when you go through the downturn of the financial situation, for example, we lost Tibet, and then the Tibetans they fled Tibet, they fled to India, leaving Tibet behind, and then many people they worried that, oh no, I left this, I left that in my home, and they worry so much. And some people, they said that when the whole nation is gone, so what is left for me to think about my small thing in my house? So when the nation is flooded with water, so you can't expect one small thing, oh I left it, I wish I could have brought it with me. So these will simply create more problem. One, you have already lost the object. Secondly, you have added the problem that I left it, and the irritation is added. So this is something which is very unwise. And on the contrary, it is advised that, for example, say if you have lost some money, and then you lost money, this is one loss, and then you think, oh no, I've lost it. No, I'm very unfortunate. You are actually building, you are adding another say pain and irritation within yourself. On the contrary, if you think that, okay, I lost it, it's fine, but somebody who's ever found it, that person will benefit out of this. I'm lucky that somebody's going to use this money. That's good. So if this is how you train, it'll keep your mind very calm and peaceful. And then some people, they think it in a very positive way that, okay, say I lost this money, is fine, but it's not that I lost everything. At the time of death, in any ways, I'm going to lose everything. I've leave everything behind me. So luckily, I'm not dead. So I will, even though I don't have one bread for this afternoon, but at least I can look for more food and so forth, and say I have not lost everything. So at time of death, I'm going to lose everything. So as compared to that, what I've lost now is nothing. It's very small. I can make it up. Okay, this way of training would be extremely helpful for us to practically maintain our mind at ease, calm, and peaceful.
Tanda teje de nima chide kimsang repshin pe pama penji de changma sombochi de ara kidu sang ya bochi de ya bores nima je kala do bores nganzo de teju kyare chepchi ko to me ki so jera ta transona ani de ma so je no moga che ke te shebchi da tende ma je so do ti tume je ne phanda yo mare se phajo tonge ne pheng mare so le pheng mare do ga do ara yidu sang ya bochi bores Chambada se koneche yabuche neche oda. Pe soya meva de racho se de kaga trete soya me rangshi de ara. Titu sembe maji songda. Sangye pu sho nyange maji se. Ene ne me ba da langzu dan jorwa dan so nam ne se. Kewo ko la shindu che meje pe ka bu che ba de se. Ina tu yiden ge yo ma de se. Meden ba da yiden do me ma de se. Saba ko ji tanze ji tambo nam ji ta dong ji. Ke ta ma chi wa de se. Tene cholo kachi songdo sa ne me betadi ne res lamje tadi ke res ra ane kar ne mo ta lamje jorbe tadi ku res tama kaga do chala kaga shaura ane so ge tama de chwa de res ti ko ramshi res ti tu nyang ne ma che songdo de du sa ya bo che chang ta ge ba me de se ga pe ya bo che de pama ina ne de na sa sa na karna pe ya bo che de ta che ke yo mare 소수치고 말을 당시에 상무탐지 때에 sam tidu다 준비를 제 몰람 잡는 소수 된디어라 다 선배제는 지구도 좀 가시 뒤를 소소야 나지 정게 되는 거다 다들 인데 마치 선거다 걔도 메타바쇼 메타바레스도 신나고 비와 말아 니마치 로버가 텐도 된게 말다스나 나저 농바지 친데 소수 텐도 된게 매선은 두지 제시다 되게 말아 ane tezir ga ya bo se de ya ma de ni me ka la bre ta chu ju ro o te inde ko te so de rang sing gi yo ya te so ta le se da sim de che yo ma re de du sa ko ya bo se chamba de se wa se de na me ne go song su da kim za na ne chamba de se wa se ta bo so so ni se ne na me ne che Internet Yendesha, Internet motion by social, no level than a number you don't do because today there is a judge of shift out.
The Buddha taught the concept of impermanence. So there the Buddha said, whatever gathers will end in separation, whatever is birth, whatever is born will end in death, whatever is accumulated will end in exhaustion, whatever rises to a height will fall eventually. So these are the four things pertaining to impermanence what the Buddha taught. So the pertaining to this, the first one, which when the Buddha said, when whatever is gathered will end in the separation. So the family, to speak about the family, we see that a group of people come together in the form of a family, the husband, wife, and the children, they come to the family. So the point is that what we do is, we don't think about the impermanence. Instead, when we are together, we fight. We fight, we quarrel, there's always, we just blame each other and so forth. We are together, we don't enjoy, we keep fighting. Then when we separate, then we regret, we cry, we lament. So this is just the state of dichotomy, which is directly in opposition with what ought to be done. So on whereas what actually we should be doing is that while we're together, enjoy that moment of being together. Enjoy the moment rather than fighting. Because the Buddha said that the gathering ends in separation. This is the nature, the law of nature. So, and likewise the Buddha said the youth ends in old age. And then the good health ends in sickness, ends with sickness. And the wealth ends in poverty. And the life ends with death. So these are the realities of life. So if you know that these are the realities of the life, so Buddha very clearly indicated that these are the realities of life. While we are together, enjoy the moment and be harmonious, be friendly, be compassionate towards each other instead of fighting. Just take that as an opportunity, coming together as the opportunity for one to practice compassion, for one to practice love and affection. So this is opportunity, and then we can expand, we can intensify and expand our practice of love and affection. So, and when the reality of life strikes us, the Buddha indicated, the Buddha advised us not to worry. Okay, so whereas oftentimes, as I said earlier, the concept of impermanence, it is not to actually create a sense of fear in us. This is not the intention. Intention is to tell us that we are a guest on this earth. So just be mindful of how a guest should be behaving in a guest house. That the guest will behave nicely, will enjoy the time there in the guest house, will never think of staying there permanently. So knowing that eventually after 2 days, 3 days, whatever, I have to vacate this place because there are guests here. If you know this, then when you leave, you have no problem, and when you are there, you will enjoy the moment there. Likewise, if you know the reality of impermanence, that we are together, this is just temporarily. We are together as a family. This is very temporarily. So this very short moment of being together, we will not create problem. Instead, we'll enjoy this moment. We'll be harmonious. We'll be friendly, and we will support each other. And we will practice love and affection towards each other. So if this is how we do, then when the actual separation strikes us, hits us, we will not be affected as much pertaining to the lamentation, the worries, anxieties, and so forth. Oftentimes what happens is people, when they're together, when they live together, they don't think about the separation. And because of which, they think that we will be together altogether, for eternally. And then we keep fighting amongst each other, we just keep not enjoying. And then when the actual separation happens, then you just go into acute depression, and oftentimes whoever is left behind tends to die very soon after the demise of the other person. These are very unwise way of thinking. So we should be, we should know about this reality. When the Buddha indicated that the health is followed by illness, the youth is followed by old age, and the wealth is followed by the poverty, the loss of the wealth, and the birth will end by death. So this we can reflect, and the Buddha said that when these actually strike, you should not worry. While you are enjoying these 4 moments, you should be really appreciate of these moments. And then yes. Okay, so we'll invite a few questions, maybe two or three questions. Okay, the mic will be given. Okay, one here. Okay, so the one point is that the questions make it really very precise because we don't have time and we try to give the opportunity to as many people as possible. Yes.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So I would like if it would be possible to get a little bit more of explanation regarding the third condition of dependent origination about the concomitance, because you mentioned that from a positive cause there should come a positive result, but I was thinking that also the opposite would happen from a negative cause. We can also appreciate positive results. You were mentioning the example of the invention of Tibet, and that's beyond negative, that's an horrendous cause, but also somehow it has had the effect of the expansion of Tibetan Buddhism in the world. So I would like a bit of explanation regarding the concept of concomitance.
Okay, thank you. The question is very good. Did you all follow the question? No need to repeat. Okay, the question, the 3 conditions. The third one, the condition of concomitancy, meaning that the result and the cause should be concomitant, should be similar in nature. If the result is positive, the cause must be positive. If the result is negative, it infers that the cause should be negative. On the contrary, the reality that we see is different. Losing Tibet is negative, and then the proliferation of Tibetan Buddhism is positive. So the cause is negative, but the result is positive. So this, how do we reconcile the 2 things?
Gebu kari na di nene chi da henji chi che ko tumbe skor ma do sebengi shonji tamne ne chi ngamo shindo de de ke mara ke ke chi sigara ke de tanda de shore de ko inera re de shore de juge maro tanda che tare de shore de juge maro de ko chi da mi dine shengen da ko ba denge je tona che ne kinje ji kenje choro ma do Geshe Yeshe Thabkhe maro. Geshe Yeshe kuti chungi ngeba ke yo mara. Geshe Yeshe kyura yime ngere ra chi chi wena. Geshe Yeshe lomba de shoso ngeba de yo te mara. Ti lombe midan dine ronge so chikko sanje chokora tona che gore de mi ko shen yo so tona re che. Ene chege ki tona che ni to na to so chora ma do. Ti chen ke mara.
So here the condition of the concomitancy. So here what we need to know is that when we plant the seed of chili, we cannot expect sweet things growing out of that. Right? So if you plant a chili will grow, but hot things will grow, not sweet things things will grow. So this is the connotation of the condition of concomitancy. So whereas losing Tibet, loss of Tibet as a cause and as the one factor, and then what follows is the spread of the Tibetan Buddhism all over the world. So these two things, it is not necessary that if we lose Tibet, then the Buddhism should thrive in the other world. It is not necessary. So the thriving Buddhism to the world over, this is because of other causes, because the people in the world, they take interest in this. If no one in the world take interest in Tibetan Buddhism, then even if Tibet is lost, so the Tibetan Buddhism may not necessarily flourish. So the point is that it so happens that seems like the two things, Tibet lost, Tibetan Buddhism flourish, right? So it is, in terms of time, is very true. First one is the first moment, and the next is the flourishing. This happens, but the flourishing itself is not because that Tibet was lost. So in case, if this is the cause, loss of Tibet is the cause for the proliferation of Tibetan Buddhism, then the moment Tibet regains independence, Buddhism may decline. Okay, the next question. Okay, let's say if this, yes.
Hi, good evening. I've come here for the first time, and my question is that is the covenant on ahimsa, non-violence, for not causing harm absolute? And the supplementary to that is that if harm and violence is caused by a distant action, not by my immediate action, but something that will follow out of my action, harm or violence is caused to something or someone.
Can you repeat the question? Please repeat the question.
My question is that very simply, is the prescription of ahimsa, non-violence, or not causing harm to anyone absolute?
What do you mean by the? Since a very philosophical question. So the concept of ahimsa, is it not absolute?
Is it absolute or is it not absolute?
What do you mean by absolute?
Absolute is that ahimsa is not himsa or violence.
No matter what situation, ahimsa should be practiced. Is what you're saying?
Yes.
No matter what situation, it should be practiced.
Yes, but
which means it's more like the what do you call it, the pacifism?
No,
the belief in pacifism.
I am asking whether violence is allowed or not.
Okay, this is more like pacifism. Yeah. So the ahimsa, in the context of ultimate meaning, pacifism should be practiced, meaning that no matter what, no wars, no wars.
Gore dati kansore. Kende chwa ina ko chawa che mera. Ta mi ten shenda ya tabshi shenda kare ne che yora. Pena san je ti sondo na so junju na sondo. O so so ne ba chen ta so ba kom nan de gre. Ta ina doji de che den zu shi. Na be che ya mera ta tu ja la. Ani che den zu shi san je ku zu shi che na kondo sa ore ne ja guru asela. Ta ja ma re sondo. Kares ne ke sanjela ne mares, chola ne mares. Ko tele chenge ko aje da thado da chini je shawa do sone te cha ko nimji yure ma to che kondo che yu mares oda. Te koran gyudi ya meshi be mongba ji yor ko lo do je te kar do te che ti te se ta shi che ore soda. Tu ba nyamo tar se ji nyamo tan de kan sa me cha ra. Ko samlo chimji lo je che le ga lo ba chi gi na ko chego etanda de samlo kardo ta ti pa shi e tamshi che ur ma do ko ne ba chen ta to yo ma re sun na te de ku su che de tam ju la che shin chi bar che ba ta ve shi na merite sanje so na ne me ngas en so so kondo se de ko pe ning ji yur ma do kondo se ko chom shan dur bre ma do ke yo ma te ba sa ri chi ma to o ti sun ba che za ko se bra ta na de tu mo mai ba te de to ba thong le sun ya e ta ri che se te de yo da 자주 하지 Kodi Tabi Tena, Kawachima Kangachi, Tantu, Education Manguyora, on Docha,
Yes. In fact, to this question, the answer is that no matter what, ahimsa is to be practiced. Because the Buddha very clearly indicated that creating a scenario where one individual person may say that, okay, if somebody harms me individually, harms me personally, to me personally, okay, I can be patient, I can bear it, ahimsa. When it comes to, if they come to destroy Buddhism, if they come to destroy the Buddha's statues like this, so there the Buddha said that even then you have to practice the ahimsa, because that these people, they are trying to destroy the Buddha's statues, stupas and so forth. The Buddha's statues and stupas, harming them, the Buddha is not harmed, Buddha cannot be harmed, right? So there we have to maintain the spirit of ahimsa, and instead these people, why they are doing this is out of ignorance. Because they are doing this out of ignorance, they deserve your compassion rather than anger. So it is very clearly indicated that how can I think of removing the ignorance so that this bad action will not happen. And to summarize this, it is said that the Buddhas will see the afflictions, negative thinking, as enemies, not the person who has the negative thinking. This should be the basic principle. So therefore, whereas in some other contexts we speak about highly realized beings involved in what is superficially seen as the harmful to others and so forth. So there, it is very different. It's not actually harming the person. It seems to be harmed, but then because of spiritual realization, you are able to lead the other person to a higher domain of the existence and so forth. So that's a very different discussion. But according to the conventional understanding, we should always maintain a sense of ahimsa. Okay, the next question.
Could you throw some light on the location of mind?
Okay, raise your hands. Okay.
Kongi sim shiva de kone de yus.
Okay.
Shiva de signi de kone.
More. Shiva de Thakur chip kasore. Namji ne chi ning ser chi des yora. Taina ko sada long de le juice de kira ma chena. Long le de suda shiva kan long le de suda. Tachik de le yus jami sun ko ge malesa.
Okay, before I give the translation, maybe the next will be the last question. Okay, one over there, right? Okay, others will get chance tomorrow because it's already 8:20. Many people should be. It's going to be too late for people. Okay, the answer given is that the mind exists in the body, and in some sources, it says that the mind exists at the heart, but the mind is very closely connected with the energy, and the energy flows in the channels, so the mind exists within that domain where the energy flows. So in simple terms, we can say the mind exists in the body. Okay, maybe the last question? The last question, yes.
My question is like, demarking others leads to aversion and attachment, but even for compassion and bodhichitta, we need others. So how to, it's a bit confusing.
Okay, the question is, when we demarcate the self and others, then it invariably arises attachment aversion, right? But it may not be true. For bodhicitta, there's no aversion, there's love and affection, but for that we need to have the demarcation in the self and others. Okay, good question.
전주승 고백하고 다다 신 이어지 걸어봤어. 신의 인지 고백이 나랑 되는 나대 신이요 계셔 지긴세 다 이어지 제고 봤어. 손상 다신 전에 생각다 다시 생각나 당수에 예봐도 생각나 내고에 났어. 내고 이런 위해서 말았어.
대다다 신의 지단도 요라. 다연한의 신도시 다 신사의 진다다잖아. 근데 진당 차단입도 연구하잖아.
순서 차단이 이번에도 있어.
다시 전에 기대요 말이네 지부대 나세 라마 주바지요라. 나세 라마 주바지도 가족들이 멤버들이 생겨라.
원디 안 전주승 공부를 봤어.
전주승도 공부하라.
돈이 마도 이네. 돈이 과사원이 매매네 전주승 공부를 봤어.
전주승
아, 세라왕 이거 신이 요새 아니 저 어떻게 좋았어.
어디 그래.
디고 매요 인상 다시 이거 제베나 진당유 이 차단이
어디 등에 받아요 말이야. 다다래. 차단 다연한데 신도시 다시시 땅가라서 지네. 아, 세라왕이 아니 간조 신이 신다스데 차단 상비기 그래서 와라. 다케에 내가 요르면서 요 말아. 아고 상도 다죠. 뒤로 좀 말해 상에 상무단이야도 총총 그래요.
게에 겐시와 겐수도 그래요. 차단 게에 겐시마지 거라나.
오래래.
다시 이거 제상.
오래래. 다르셔나 그 주민지 남도 세줘라. 다리한테 주민지 남도 기니 시부지 깨져 이거다. 딜레 퍼주들이 내가 전에 제외를 동계하라. 뭐 근데 뒤에는 거야. 당시 치와 섬기도 말이지가 당신도 여셔라. 나를 지게 당해도 나를 현다레스 여셔라.
So here the separation of the self and others. So when this separation happens, it does not necessarily give rise to attachment to the self and aversion to others. But what is said here is that when this split happens, and then the additional factor, what is known as the inappropriate attention, viewing self as more important and viewing others as the ones who impedes, who comes in the way to your happiness, then the aversion arises. So whereas the self and others do exist, these two things do exist, on that basis, and we can practice compassion, bodhichitta, and so forth, but in the normal situation where this divide is created, then the additional factor is the inappropriate attention.
Viewing the self, viewing the self
as more important inappropriately, and viewing others as less important, and factors which harm my happiness, so forth, then the aversion and attachment arise here. Okay, thank you. So we'll end with the quick dedication prayer. Okay, for the dedication prayer, we'll turn to the page 278. Okay, tomorrow we'll start the class at the 6 sharp, so that we can have more question answers in the end. Okay, let's turn to page 278. In the random circle, personal mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful generous ends in Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Sonatapatra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in best way that I may follow the perfect example. I dedicate all these fruits of virtue with the dedication praise as the best, by the victorious ones thus gone the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme bodhichitta that is not arisen may rise and grow, and may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain with this fellow miseries of the world.
Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, I could attain the state of Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into their enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the three times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the four wheels of the mind and vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path and renunciation, bodhichitta, perfect with the two stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem, I confess the negativities individually, I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings, I hold the precious within their heart. The path of union of happiness is lucidly explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings must know that. With the lotus soul that cleansing also, we subjugate the real wishes of fulfill spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who have managed to pervert it and be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages of the paths, may quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may always be guided by refuge-free and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of divine origination in particular, even in the personal life. Okay, so I will continue the teaching tomorrow at 6 o'clock, and as I said earlier, see if you can read the text in praise of divine origination. Okay, thank you. Please just keep standing when Venerable Geshe Yeshe Thabkhe Rinpoche passes. Let's all keep standing.
Touch it. Oh yeah. Touch it. No tan de eso. Yeah. Oh yeah. Touch it. Shame it do. Oh yeah. That's all. Shame it touch. That's it. Que no vamos a